All right, guys, we're here. Pit Chatter Podcast, episode 2. We're here live from the, well, we're not live. We are recording live from the, I don't remember, what's the name of this?
Trackside Eats.
Trackside Eats. I don't know why I forget that, but Trackside Eats concession stand. Front side, located at the start-finish line. Be sure to check out all the good food here later on this year. Not right now, even though we're supposed to be open. Another story for another day. That voice that reminded me what the name of this concession stand is. That's my wife and co-host, Kimberly Austin. Kimberly, thank you for being here. Apparently, you're not just whoever I can get. Maybe you're the pick. I'm not really sure.
Man, I've made it 3 episodes now. I'm pretty freaking proud of myself.
Well, I don't know if it'll be 4, but we'll see how this one goes.
3 for Dale. Then.
I mean, so far you spoke more words today than you did the entire podcast on episode 1.
Yeah, I was a little off the last episode, but I'm good today.
Yeah, well, got you back on your meds. We're good now. so we'll see how this goes. Today we're joined in studio. I mean, he looks like he's fresh, just got out of bed here, but got Josh Hinchee's brother, Noah Hinchee, here in the studio.
I think actually he's my brher.
Oh, is that how it works?
I'm the main one.
Oh, okay.
But appreciate you guys having me on.
Well, we're glad to have you here. I didn't know if you were coming or not. I mean, I guess in retirement you can still be on a podcast, right?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, okay.
But too bad I'm not retired.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, that's the rumor. I don't know if that's the Langley rumor or I don't know what it is, but it's the rumor out there that you've done retired.
Okay, you'll see. Whatever it is, March 2nd, I'll be here.
March 2nd. Well, let's hope the weather holds out and you can do that because, you weren't going to be here with us New Year's Eve and you got lucky and, we didn't race anyways.
Yep.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. There are people, I mean, I know you're a superstar, legend in your own mind, but there are some people out there that don't know who Noah Hinchee is. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, they should, first off, because I'm the best there is. But, from Roanoke, born and raised there, never left. But never really into racing too much, to be completely honest. But this short track stuff, I just love it, man. Me and Josh would come down here all the time and be watching all the races, so figured we'd get into it.
If I remember the story correctly, you guys, 2020, you guys were down here watching some races and kind of really got hooked on, man, I got to be out there on the track.
My first race was, I'm pretty sure it was 2020, the Smart Mods in 2020, where this place, I mean, regardless of what was going on and all the shutdowns and stuff, this place was packed, and it was awesome. And that was my first ever race here, and from that point on, I was just hooked on this place.
Yeah, 2020 was pretty magical around here. Made just about anybody want to be out here and be a part of this thing. 2022, I guess you come and practiced early on. There?
Yeah, we started about 2021 halfway through the year because we kept talking about it.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's race. And then eventually we had a car already, the Escort, just sitting there in the yard.
It was a daily driver for Josh, right? At one
point.
Well,
I learned how to drive a 5-speed on it when I was like 16 or 15 or something. That car's been in the family for like 15 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, we finally said, let's just do it. We spent the end of like the 2021 season building the car, and then got it ready for the next year. Showed up here, did some practice. Realized how hard it really was. It looked easy from the stands.
Yeah. When you're sitting in the stands, you go, well, I can drive better than that guy.
Yeah, what people that don't race don't understand is from on videos, in the stands, it looks so slow. Yeah. You're like, that doesn't look very fast. Yeah. And then you get in the car, and I'm turning terrible laps, thinking I'm flying out there.
Yeah, I mean, you looked like a duck out of water on your first trip here. Remember you practicing, but man, you guys put in a lot of practice time after that, and I mean, it started to show during the course of the season. You got better and better every week.
Yeah, we were here every practice, even when we didn't even need to. I just came down here just to put some laps in, put some work in.
You still do that. I mean, that's not changed from just starting. You do that pretty much. I think you practice more than anybody the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
I mean, every week we'd know if nobody else was coming to practice, you'd be here eventually.
Well, part of it is just fun.
Yeah.
It's just fun to turn laps.
The
So
Hinchees would be here no
Yep.
matter what. You'd open up the gates at 3 o'clock. It didn't matter if it was 5:30, 6 o'clock. They were rolling through the gate.
Yep.
yeah, me and Josh would talk, and we'd be like, we don't really need to work on nothing. We don't really need to practice, but let's just go down there and have
You know,
fun.
all those laps matter.
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
do.
In the grand scheme of things, people think that, I don't need to practice. But, I mean, all those laps matter. I mean, the more laps you get around the track, you may learn some little something out there.
Yeah.
You get a little more comfortable. You get a little more, ballsy, for a lack of better words.
That's why I would try to put myself in kind of real world scenario. That's why everybody else just goes out there as soon as they get on the track, they just floor it. I always practice a restart.
Yeah.
And then I'll go high, you drive the high line, and like it's an actual race. And I used to get Josh to come out there and mess with me sometimes.
Yeah.
Just to get more and more comfortable.
I mean, that's how you learn. I mean, that's the more you do something, the better you're going to get, obviously. 2022 was a pretty good season for you.
Yeah, it was decent.
In both rookie and in Stock 4.
Yeah, it wasn't as good as I would hope it'd be. We thought we were going to come out there and win immediately. We got humbled. Got humbled real quick.
I think that happens to a lot of racers.
Yeah. Well, you look at, especially Stock 4, people think these cars are just hunks of junk.
Yeah.
Junkyard cars.
Right.
And then we go out there like, well, these junkyard cars can fly. These things are rolling.
They can get around the high banks here pretty well, for sure.
Yeah.
No doubt about that. Tell us a little bit. You mentioned family car. You didn't mention what kind of car it is. Tell us a little bit about that car, versus and then we'll talk about the car that you drove this past season.
It's a '98 Ford Escort, white originally. That thing, that poor car was neglected the past 3 years before we put it into action here. Josh he killed a deer and then put the deer head in the car to let it decompose so he could get the head off of it. It was disgusting in there. But we put the work in on it. Arguably, probably too much work for what it was really worth. But then, if you can't beat them, join them. So that's why I got an old Cavalier now.
Yeah, but before we talk about the Cavalier, by the end of that season, though, you guys had made that thing run.
Yeah, we had dialed it in, but the problem was the thing didn't want to turn.
Yeah.
That was what it really came down to. It had decent power, but it just destroyed tires, didn't want to turn.
What do you think makes that car not turn compared to your Cavalier?
I really couldn't tell you. I don't know. Yeah, I
just-
mean, I ain't no mechanic, so I
didn't
couldn't
know
get
if it
into
was something you had
specifics.
figured out. You know what I mean? After you got into Cavalier, it's like, oh man, this is what
It
this
really, even if we do things that's semi-frowned upon, you put spring rubbers or whatever in there, legal now.
is. Yeah.
But you
Legal
put spring rubbers in it, it still wouldn't turn.
Right.
That thing just sucked. I hated it.
I got you.
But it still has a soft place in my heart.
Yeah. Turn to page 2023. Come out with your Cavalier. Extremely fast in practice.
Yeah, I didn't believe you when you told me my lap time.
Yeah. I'm timing laps, just with my phone, and he's like, nah, that ain't what I turned.
I knew it was fast, but I was like, no, there's no way I was half a second faster than every winning car last year.
Right. Yeah, well, a little bit of rule changes there, unlimited camber and stuff, I think played into, but that was a really, really fast car right out of the gate.
Yeah, that thing was, it flew for a $500 piece of junk that I drove to Whitfield to get.
I'd consider that a good deal.
Oh, that was a great deal. I got my money's worth out of it.
Oh, you definitely got your money's worth out of it. Now, used it all up
Yeah.
in the meantime.
Well, we cannibalized everything. It's still sitting out there in the yard. It ain't nothing but a frame and 2 tires now.
Right. Tell us about your I kind of compare your season, you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan. Your season was kind of like theirs. You come out of the gate really strong, had a great first 3/4 of a season, or half to 3/4 of a season, and then just fizzled out.
Yeah, I'm mad about the birds, but yeah, pretty much. It was crazy to go from. We always joke that's why we're the 5th place podcast. Is I was getting 5th place every single race.
Yep.
No matter what happened, and then all of a sudden to go from that, and then now me and Wes and maybe a couple other guys like Jaden and Josh Brown were trading wins. I'm winning like every other race by a mile. It was just crazy. And then
Yeah, when you got out front, I mean, it was pretty much lights out.
yeah, it was crazy to do that. And I think I got 6 or 7 wins in that short, like 2-month span. But after that Smart Mod race,
Yeah,
the car just took a dump.
yeah,
And we still haven't really figured out what it was with it, but it just kept getting slower and slower and slower. And we kept working on it, kept bringing it to practice, and it just kept getting slower. And then eventually got totaled by.
I mean, you thought it was that penalty weight, based on.
I thought
speeds that
that's
we had
what it
last
was,
year,
but then with the practice, we came down one practice and let's just pull all the weight out and see what it does.
Right.
And it was just as slow
Yeah,
without the weight. But yeah, before we could get it figured out, she got totaled. So
yeah, yeah. Had a little rough ending there for sure.
yeah, so getting spun for 7th place.
Well,
That's
these guys, man, them guys that run back there, from being the 5th place guy, last year, them guys that run back there, they race hard.
I mean, you can race hard, but why are we spinning people for a 7th place finish here? Why we got to total a car?
I don't really know the answer to that one, but you know how you racers are, y'all strap that chin strap down and it's over. So
Yeah, I mean, that's
He's
true.
seen one more position, and he's like, I got to have it. I'm going for it.
Yeah, he could have at least gave me a warning bump.
he figured you knew he was coming. So
I knew he was there. He wasn't hitting me. So I was like, I got space. I got room.
right. We'll talk a little bit more about the stock 4. Here in a minute. But you also spent this season, I think you started 2 or 3 races in, but spent this season in the bootlegger division, which is a Crown Vic class, 4.6 engines. You won the championship, but I still don't know if you figured out how to drive those things yet.
Yeah, I never did. I don't know whose idea it was to put me in the rear wheel drive because I have no idea what the hell I'm doing.
That was some idiot named Langley Austin, but we ain't going to talk about that.
Yeah.
Made it interesting, though. I ain't complaining. It made it interesting.
Oh, it was
Look,
definitely
at one
exciting.
race, I figured there's nothing going on. Let's just whip it hard right and run this thing right into the wall.
I watched the video.
Fun.
That's what I thought you did. I thought you said, well, ain't no excitement out here.
And make it fun for the fans.
I mean, now once you semi-retired after that, I didn't. I guess it wasn't intentional.
I was retired for that the rest of that season. I was hurting.
yeah. Well, I thought you was just trying to make your girlfriend feel better.
No. I would have hopped in the car next week if I could, but I couldn't hardly walk for a week. It messed up my wrist, my ankle. My whole midsection was purple where the seatbelt was. It was bad.
Jayden thought you was just becoming a fan of him. He got the purple and white. That's what he thought you was just becoming more of a fan, dressing up in team colors.
I don't think a lot of people take into account when you do hit here, it's hard and it hurts.
You ain't gonna hit easy here, that's for sure.
Well, the thing I've learned is, and it looks bad when you hit other cars. Other cars don't hurt.
Yeah,
they give.
Yeah, they move a little bit. Yeah,
that wall don't move.
That wall
hurts. And to go from however fast I was going 60 to 0 in 0 space.
Yeah,
it hurt.
In like 20 foot.
Yeah,
that was about what it was. I mean, it's
crazy. Not the speed that kills you; it's suddenly stopping.
Yeah, that was definitely a heck of a sudden stop. I mentioned your girlfriend, Jordan Meadows. She run some Divas races, got her a new car, kind of did the same thing, come up off turn 4, got turned into the outside wall there, just couldn't correct the car. I mean, she broke her wrist and messed up her knee and stuff, Yeah,
she still has problems out of that wrist.
Yeah, that was a tough wreck in practice, no less.
Yep.
That's why I said I didn't know if you was having sympathy pains, just wanted to help her out. And,
I want to make her feel better. That's why I did
it. Yeah, well, I mean, whatever. I mean, we can go with that. Rear wheel drive versus front wheel drive. You said you really struggled with the bootlegger. What's the main differences? Driving those two cars.
Well, I don't want to say it's easy in a front-wheel drive because you definitely have to kind of know what you're doing. But pretty much for the most part, you get sideways in that thing, you just turn the wheel a little bit and mash the gas, and the back end just follows the front. So it's way easier. Whereas the bootleggers, I mean, it really depends car to car.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to just let off and just turn into the slide. Some cars you need to pedal it.
Right.
That was the biggest problem for me is my bootlegger. which was the older one. I was finally starting to figure that one out, and I could handle it getting loose.
Yeah.
And then that one, the motor took a dump on me.
Yep.
So I hopped in Timmy's, and Timmy's had that welded rear end, and
Yep.
it was like driving a completely different car, and it threw me off.
Do you think it made it harder driving? I'm assuming, how old are you?
24.
24. You probably not
I had to
driven many
think about it
rear
for a
wheel
second.
drives on the street or anything.
No,
right?
I had a truck
Yeah.
for like 6 months, but that's the only, everything I've ever drove has been front
Yeah.
wheel drive.
I mean, you think that's what contributes to, you being more comfortable in front wheel drive?
Yeah, I think so. It's just like all the older guys, they've grown up,
Right.
just going out, driving rear wheel drives. And
Sure.
I mean, for a long
Getting
time, that was the
sideways.
only option.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, that's all I've ever really drove is front wheel drives. I think that is part of the reason why I'm so much more comfortable in that.
I
Right.
absolutely hate driving a rear wheel drive car. It's awful because you have no control up front.
You
Yeah.
feel like you have no control, period,
Yeah, I still get Vietnam flashbacks every time I hop in a rear wheel drive car.
So no rear wheel drives in your future for racing?
Yeah, probably not. No, I
Probably
think I'm
not.
gonna retire from rear wheel.
Yeah, okay. So
I'm
yeah,
a one and done. 1 year, one championship. We're calling it quits right there.
I
Just
mean-
like my demo derby career.
Demo derby.
One
career
demo
lasted
derby,
One derby.
And I'm done. I ain't ever doing that again.
But you won.
I did, technically.
I mean, you won.
Thank God that dude ran up on the other guy's hood.
Yeah.
Maybe an Indy car next. Maybe a one and done in that.
I've tried to race any car
He
like
keep making
7
out the
times,
IndyCar for some
and it
reason.
never works out. The one race, we didn't have hardly anybody show up, so I just had to race stock 6 in Wes's little Fusion. Then the other time, I was supposed to drive his Civic, which I was super excited to drive that
You
because
killed the Civic.
I did not. That thing was dead before I started.
I mean, it had just raced before that.
I took it out, and it said, ba, 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 and that was it. It was done after that.
I mean, you're rough on cars that aren't, Cavaliers.
Yeah, I try to take care of my
I mean, you were
cars.
rough.
Other people's
I don't-
cars,
I guess
don't
you're
know.
rough on a Cavalier too. I mean, you done went through one, so
That wasn't my fault.
you never did get to run. You never did get to run the other car, the other Cavalier, correct?
No, I came down here to practice it. I was set to race it that day, but Bootleggers was the first race, so yeah, that didn't get to run it.
Right. That's what I thought. I didn't think you had got a chance to ever actually get some laps in that car.
It's
Yeah.
still sitting there with in the yard with Jaden's sticker on it. He thought he was being funny and put a sticker of his thing on my speedometer. It's still sitting there.
Yeah, well, maybe that'll give you some good luck.
Yeah, apparently it gave me bad luck, so maybe I ought to take that thing off of there.
Well, you haven't had bad luck in that car.
Not yet.
Yeah, I mean, so
I haven't had the chance to.
well, you make a good point. You definitely have not had the chance to. Gosh. Going back to talking about the Escort that you started in. How much do you think starting in that car, slower car, you had to really get up on the wheel, you had to learn how to drive it? You think that contributed to your success, your instant success in the Cavalier? Or do you think it was just all car?
It was 100%. Driving a slower car to begin with definitely helped because it wasn't. If I had gone out there in my new Cavalier that was just beating the hell out of everybody, I wouldn't have learned anything.
Right.
But driving that Escort, and I had to fight for every single position.
Yeah.
And I would have to. It's not like an easy pass you can do on the Cavaliers. Them Cavaliers, dude, you can. If it's a slower car, you can sling by them on the outside, no problem. But
Right.
that Escort, you have to actually set up a pass. You can't just speed right through them. So it helped a lot, contributing to my learning of how to really race.
Right. Who? What drivers? Really helped you. Or were there any drivers when you had the Escort that really helped you along?
Josh was actually. We used to be neighbors with Chris Amos, so Josh knew him. They used to hang out when they were kids, and so he was the one that kind of stepped in. He came to a couple practices with us.
Yeah.
And he was trying to tell me what to do and
Yeah.
trying to keep me from totaling my car in the first race. But yeah, he helped a lot. And then recently, Wes has helped me a lot, teaching me things or just watching them. Seeing like some stuff he does on restarts. I done figured out his move now on the restarts.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna say it out loud, but I figured it out, and I'm gonna definitely use it.
He definitely can really get up on it on the restart for sure. Let's see what drivers you had a few feuds. I don't know, feuds, rivalries with some other drivers. Tell us a little bit about those instances over the last couple of years.
I mean, last year, well, I guess 2 years ago, it was kind of just petty stuff.
Yeah.
Because it was before I really got a lot under my belt.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of, I mean, there was one kid that kept spinning out by himself in a front-wheel drive, which is unheard of. But other than that, I really didn't have any issues. This year, I had a lot more issues with people.
Yeah.
Two in particular, the one that wants to spin me out and get my car totaled for a 7th place finish. Me and him kind of got into it, and then I got a talking to from Jay about it.
Yeah.
Told me not to mess around because
Yeah.
the dude was worried that we were just going to go out there and beat the hell out of each other.
Right.
And I was thinking about it. I ain't even going to lie.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, but he pretty much came up and said, "If you mess around, you gonna get parked for the day." So
Yeah. Well, I mean that happens sometimes. Sometimes you're the good guy. Sometimes you're the bad guy.
I still own one. I don't ever forget.
Yeah, well, most races, and then they may pick up some more speed. They've got a couple different cars, I believe, for this upcoming season, so they may pick up some speed. But most races, you were out front. I guess y'all were racing hard because your car was having whatever problem it was having there.
Yeah, it wasn't even until the end when I wasn't even really. I knew I wasn't going to go and win the race.
Right.
It was really just trying to get points, just cruising along, and maybe eventually trying to figure out what the hell is wrong with my car.
Yeah.
So that's why it really upset me that happened. I wouldn't be as mad about it if it was like we were racing for the lead in something like that, but it happened in the back of the pack. Like we were fighting for last place. I mean,
right.
it was completely unnecessary. But, I mean, it happened. Had to build a brand new car out of it. And what are you going to do? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe you got a little more experience, when you're racing 7th or 8th to just get going.
Yeah. Or let him
Get
go,
going.
one or the other.
He never bumped me. That's why I was going to let him go.
Yeah.
I was looking at him, and I was like, well, he's not here yet.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to tell sometimes when you just a quick glance up in the mirror.
Yeah.
And I was going to let him go, and then all of a sudden I threw it down into 3, and it starts going sideways. I turned it, floored it, kept going sideways.
Yeah.
And then I looked over and saw the gate, and I said, "Oh hell no!" And I mashed the brake and locked it up. Then, and old Josh Brown came around.
Yeah.
Didn't see me there, and
I don't think
smacked me.
I think he's seen you. I just don't think he
well,
can do
yeah,
anything about it.
He couldn't go nowhere, so
Yeah.
it ain't his fault, but
Yeah.
it just happens.
Wes Givens is the Wes that you've mentioned, multiple times here throughout the show. He pretty much dominated the season in Stock 4 this year.
Yep.
I believe 17 wins, I think, on the season. I mean, is that what's it like racing a guy he's got a lot of experience in rear-wheel drive cars, a lot of experience in front-wheel drive cars, races enduros everywhere, has raced upper, divisions, not late models, but different sportsman cars on dirt and different stuff like that. What's it like racing a guy like that?
It's aggravating.
Yeah.
Because it's like everything that you think of, he already thought it 3 years ago.
Right.
And every move that you think you're going to pull, he knows it's coming before you even think about it.
Right.
And he's just so damn good. It's hard. It's really hard to beat him. But I mean, it teaches you a lot. Also,
Yeah.
Like I said, I done figured out what he does on the restarts. I never could figure out why he jumped ahead so quick.
Yeah.
I figured it out now.
But that's got to make you more determined. Hey, I got to get up there and beat him. I got to get up there and get past him.
Yeah, it does. I remember the one night, and normally I wouldn't be aggravated about second place finishes, coming home with a little money.
Right.
But the 2 Stock 4s and the bootlegger race, I finished second to Wes every single race. And I've never been more upset with 3 second place finishes in my entire life. It was just, it's annoying. But like I said, you learn a lot from racing against, because a lot of us out there, especially in Stock 4, most of us are a bunch of new guys.
Right.
Like, we've only been racing for a couple years, and then you get this guy who's a veteran, and he knows what the hell he's doing.
Yeah.
We can all learn a lot from it.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, I mean, he definitely dominated the season. But, I mean, you, in the early parts of the season, I mean, you were staying tit for tat with him. Every time he'd get a win, you'd get a win. I mean, obviously, your bootlegger wreck aside, man, and the problems with your car there in mid-season, if you could have stayed with him, I mean, you could have challenged for the points. And you were there for a while.
Yeah, I led the points pretty much until that happened, I think, or until my car started getting crappy, and I was finishing 5th, 6th, 7th every race. But
yeah,
that aggravated me a lot because that's bootlegger. I was just kind of doing for fun.
Yeah,
it was just to mess around with. I wasn't even worried about the points really, and I really wanted stock forward. Like, that was my bread and butter.
Yeah,
and that's like, I guess.
Ain't it funny how that works
Yeah,
out? You're
irony.
doing one for
I win the
fun.
championship in a division I didn't care about.
Right.
And then I don't win the championship. I don't even know where I finished. I ended up finishing like 7th or 6th because I missed so many races there at the end.
You missed a bunch there. I mean, there's so many races, racing twins. I think we ran 40 or 41 races or some crazy number like that this year. And that's a lot of races. I mean, you won a normal track's regular season, leading the points by mid-season. So,
yeah,
if that makes you feel any better.
Yeah, well, no.
You don't get a trophy
Not
for
at all.
that or, nothing. But
I get a firm handshake.
Did you think it was hard to go and jump in your stock 4 and then go, man, now I got to go jump in my bootlegger? Was there any
It was a little, because sometimes you have a tough race and you just want to chill out for a minute. I just want to sit on the trailer and watch the next few races, but half time I got to bring my car, park it over there in Tech, and then run across the infield, go get my bootlegger. The one night I raced the 2 stock 4s, bootlegger. I raced stock 6 in Wes's car. It's a lot. It's a lot to deal with. I don't know how Wes does it.
And he does it every week. He can do it every week and just jump car, and bam, gone.
Yeah, it's a lot. And especially because he don't have a lot of people to help him either, so he's working on his stuff by himself most of the time.
Yep. It's crazy. Speaking of that, he also put you in when your car went down. He also put you in automatic Sunfire. Same thing as a Cavalier. You picked up a win in that thing too.
Yeah, that was crazy. I never thought that an automatic car would be that good.
Yeah.
And we had to play with tire sizes because you got to leave it in second gear with automatic. But that thing, it wasn't the fastest out there, but it could hang in there. And if I got the chance, which I did, to get out ahead, I was able to sneak a win in there with that thing.
Yeah. Seemed like when Jaden ended up in the car, Jaden Austin, finished second in points. He ended up in the car later on after that with some problems with his car blowing up. Got a couple of wins in that thing. It seemed like if you could get out front, that was the ticket.
Yeah, it made me laugh a lot watching Jaden in Wes's car beating the hell out of Wes, trying to beat him in his own car. That was pretty fun to watch.
They definitely put on a show, racing each other hard, and you never know in that scenario what's going to happen. Wes take more liberties or take less because it's his car, or
I genuinely think he does not.
I don't think he cares one way or the other.
He'll total his own car.
His own car doesn't make any difference. He's going to race you hard for the win.
He's going to take that win at no cost. It doesn't matter if it was his mama right out in front of him. He was going to take that win.
Oh, 100%. 100%. No doubt.
Yeah.
Probably got that bumper a few times.
Yeah, probably so. I knocked him by about. He scared the hell out of me one time. Something happened with him, and I was way faster through the turn. And I came in, and I was half sideways. And, it's front-wheel drive. You got to mash the gas. If you hit the brake, you're going to spin. So he had slowed down right when I mashed the gas, and I picked his whole ass end up off the ground. And then he wagged his finger, giving me the no sign out the window, and he went up the track like to let me go past. I said, I ain't passing you. You take that spot. You go ahead.
And that's maturity right there. 2022, you would probably, I'm going.
Yeah, well, I would have learned real quick. Maybe next time don't take that spot.
Yeah, I think Josh Brown might have got that lesson when they raced. You were right there in the thick of that battle, too.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good dash cam footage.
The Stock 4 division, man, what do you think makes that racing so good?
I think it's because most of these guys out here are just crazy. And it's like these big high dollar cars, they're cool.
Yeah.
They're really cool, but they're so high dollar that a lot of times the guys don't want to risk them or anything.
Yeah.
But we're out here in $500 cars.
Right.
And so we're just beating the hell out of everybody, each other. It's also because it's a front wheel drive and it's easier to save, you can be a lot rougher through the turns with guys.
Right.
And it puts on great entertainment.
I mean, they're the best races 9 times out of 10 during the course of the year. They're going to be the best race of the night. Smart Modified night, different nights like that. The Smart Modifieds, they overshadow. They're just such a good race.
Yeah.
I don't know that 45 stock 4 races in a year is the best races. I mean, that was a lot of that's a lot to put on racers.
It is, but I'm going to tell you, even when the car count kind of dwindled 3/4 of the way through the season, I mean, it would be 6, 7 cars out there. And I mean, they'd be all over top of each other. I mean, that was when the battle you're talking about when, Jaden and Wes are, beating the crap out of each other in both in Wes's cars.
Yep.
And those races were fantastic.
Yeah. And with only 5, 6 cars out there.
100%.
But you got to, and then it's like sometimes at the beginning of the year, we would have all them cars and one of us would just walk the dog and it wouldn't be a very good race.
Yeah, but you get, it's just like that. You get a little bit of everything, in racing. You just never know what the night is going to produce. And it, a lot of it depends on where each driver starts, and if you start straight up, or if you have an invert, or you have whatever.
That invert puts on the best shows.
Yeah.
Because we only got 15 laps to work with.
Yeah.
You got to get up through that field fast because a lot of times it works out to who gets in first.
Yeah.
Who gets up there
Or
the quickest.
really, whoever of the really fast guys just gets ahead.
Yeah.
I mean, you get 2 or 3 cars ahead. Well, you got a long ways to go for that guy to catch back up to you if you can just keep, going up through the field.
Yeah, and that's why Wes gets all his wins because he's a master of navigating through traffic and slow cars.
Yeah.
Because he'll trap you behind them slow dudes, and then you're stuck for 2 laps.
I mean,
and that's the truth. When you invert, if you got one fast guy that gets out there and takes off, you got to work like hell to get yourself back up there to get able to race the guy in the lead.
Yeah. That's why I was so excited that the night of the Smart Mods, when you had actually took the weight off, it was a no-weight race.
Yeah.
And I knew, obviously, I had pretty much the fastest car out there. I had a pretty good chance. And I got lucky because with the invert you guys did, there on the.
Oh, it worked out perfect.
I was on the outside, and there was 2 slow cars in front of me on the inside. And me and Adam, we just took off on everybody else because they got hung up behind the slow car. It worked out perfect. But that's what I'm saying. And Austin, he tried like hell to get me.
He did.
He couldn't get me.
He was tracking you down. He just couldn't get there.
He tried to sling it in one time, just barely missed my bumper. I think he left a little blue mark on my back bumper.
Yeah. I mean, it happens. I bet you probably had some yellow on your car. Every stock 4 had a little yellow from Josh Brown from this season, right?
Yeah. He give you the door every once in a while.
I mean, you're not going to get by him without him putting a little yellow on your car, man.
Yeah.
And he was the only yellow car out there, so.
Yeah, so it was really
You knew
easy
exactly where it come from.
On that back bumper. And then you give him a shot back, you get it on your front.
Yep. For sure. It's got to be fun as a driver in those situations, though, where we talked about how great the racing is and how hard you guys are able to battle because of the way the cars are, and being a front wheel drive, you can race a little harder through the corners. It's got to be fun, man, behind the wheel. That's got to be a lot more fun. I know you didn't really love racing the bootlegger, but it's got to be more fun being behind the wheel of that stock 4.
Oh, it's way more fun, and it's hard to think about it. The most fun I've had in a race is when I was in Wes's Sunfire, the automatic car.
Yeah.
And I think I got like 4th.
Yeah.
But there was a bunch of us in a pack just beating and banging the whole race long. It just swapping positions, and it's hard to see it when you're just focused on the race. But once I got in the pits and got out the car, I was like, that was fun as hell, man. That was the most fun I've ever had in the car.
What do you think your biggest takeaway from the 2023 season was? I mean, because you went, like we talked about, you went from gangbusters beginning of the season to nothing at the end. What was your biggest takeaway from the season itself?
Pro-
As a driver, what's your biggest takeaway?
Probably first would be don't drive rear-wheel drive anymore.
Well, okay, set that aside.
And second would be maybe take a little better care of my car next year. Because I was getting cocky with it, and I got in a few wrecks, and somehow that car never wavered until whatever mechanically was wrong with it. But I need to take better care of my stuff. We went through a lot of cars this year.
What do you as a driver? What can you do to take better care of your car in that instance?
Maybe instead of just accept a second place instead of fighting
can
for
you
a
do
win.
that mentally? Can you compartmentalize
I don't think you
that?
can. It's easy to say now, but once you get in that car, strap that helmet on. Even if you go out there and you say, I don't care about this race, you still, once you get out there, you're like, yeah, I care a lot, actually. But I'm going to try my best to take care of my stuff this year.
I mean, do you ever go out there and think, I don't really care about this race?
Sometimes.
I mean,
Every once in a while. When I was in a bad mood and I'm going out there and bootleggers.
Well, Lord, you were in a bad mood the first half of the season.
Knowing well that Wes is just going to walk the dog on me.
Yeah.
And then he's going to toy with you in that bootlegger. He was putting on a class on how to drive a rear-wheel drive in that division.
You're the only guy I dealt with that even when you'd win, you were in a bad mood at the beginning of the
Well,
season.
you shouldn't have gave me an award for it last year. That was mistake number one. That just encouraged me.
Well, fair enough.
You shouldn't reward bad behavior.
That's probably a lesson to be learned right there, huh?
Yeah, that's your lesson for the
I'm
years.
saying
Don't
it.
reward bad behavior this year with awards.
But it makes
It's on a nice plaque on my wall now.
it makes the banquet so much fun, though.
It does. I love.
I mean, the banquet's a good time.
Oh, it's great. I recommend people that are just fans. Just come and watch.
100%. If they knew how entertaining it was, I mean, especially last year's was. You know what? I say that, but the last banquet we had was just as entertaining. You know, the Tony Hausman, Kerry Thomason feud spilling over inside of there. I mean, it just
They
you know
stole everything off
Yeah,
the walls.
everything.
Everything.
We decorated the walls. That's why there was no decorations. Hanging up at the last banquet. I didn't want to get it all stolen. They stole everything that was hanging on the wall last time.
We
that's
shut
rough.
we shut the lights off to do something, and we turned the lights on, and I mean everything was gone off the walls. Everything.
Yeah, instantly.
Banners.
They were perfect
They
thieves.
was thinking about it the whole time.
Yeah, they were obviously, scouting that out for sure.
The banquet's a hell of a time, though.
It is.
We get a couple of them drinks flowing, even though they were not allowed.
No alcohol allowed.
But yeah, you get a little bit of liquid courage, get people on the microphone. Wes dumping on Hausman was pretty funny. I enjoyed that.
Lord.
It was just a good time. And I was doing like a shoot with Keyshawn. We were working out like some WWE trash talk.
Yeah.
And then Keyshawn, I guess once he got up there, got really nervous and forgot what he was. And it just made me look like a jerk because I just went up there and crapped on Keyshawn, and then he was like, "Thanks for my award, guys." And I was like, "Dude, that wasn't the plan. We had a whole thing planned, and you ruined it."
Wow. Yeah, speaking of Keyshawn, y'all were friendly at the banquet, even though you were trying to play that out. Y'all weren't so friendly at the beginning of the season.
I have a love-hate relationship with Keyshawn.
Yeah.
He's a great dude, funny as hell, but
He is funny as hell.
he's unnecessarily rough out there sometimes.
You think that's because, take Stock 4, for example. He's in a slower car, kind of like you were in 2022. You think he's rougher because, he has to be?
Yeah, he definitely does. He's learned how to block.
Oh, he can block.
Very well.
I told him he's the only guy I knew that could run an entire race and stay in front of people turning faster lap times than he was.
Yeah, I think I told him one time, I was like, "Look, you're my boy." I had him on my podcast. I'm pretty sure he was the first episode. I can't remember or not, but I was like, "I don't want to deal with having to sit behind you for 10 laps while you're blocking." I was like, "I got a fast car this year. I'm trying to go out to win." And he tried it for like a lap, and I gave him a good shove, and he moved up and let me go by. And I was like, "All right, we're cool."
You guys weren't so cool in the bootleggers.
Yeah, well, there was no reason to spin me like that, but
I mean,
He knows I couldn't hang on to it.
I
He knew
getting
what
ready
was
say,
going to happen.
He said he knew, you were already sideways. He just
That was
tried
the
to help you a
weirdest
little.
spin I think I've ever had because I was spinning for like 15 minutes. I was steering it. I was trying. I was like, okay, it's coming around. Nope. The whole way through the turn, just drifted it, and then finally it came around on me.
Oh man, yeah, it wasn't like that last crash.
It would have been if, thank the Lord, Austin Williams was there
Yeah.
because I turned it, overcorrected, and ran into him. It would have been the exact same crash as that real bad one if Austin hadn't been there because I just slammed into him. And I hit him so hard that the car flipped around and spun the other way.
Wow. Fun times.
Yeah, taking out 2 of your cars at the same
Yeah,
time.
I don't know why y'all had to do that.
I didn't do it on purpose.
I started the season with 5, and I think I ended the season with 1.
Mine's still functional. It can get you about a lap
Functional-ish.
until it starts dumping oil on the track.
I
and
mean, the gate man decided to take out another car with the gate.
that was a rough one.
That wasn't
I don't know how he just hopped out the car was like, fine.
I mean,
he come off a pit road, and he was at full speed. He never let off, ever.
And that was, I think I was getting ready. I was putting my race suit on, and you could just hear it because he was the only one on the track.
Yeah,
he
it
just
was
went, "Arr, boo!" And we all looked. It was like, oh, God. And then he came down the track, hit the inside wall, and then he just parks it, gets out, and I was like, well, that sucks. And I was like, are you okay?
it looked about like that girl in the police race practice.
Oh my gosh, yes.
She did the same thing. She took off pit road, and she was wide open. She banking off the wall over here, hit the gate. But she made it through it. She didn't hit the inside wall and stop.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Maybe that was her police training.
yeah. Hey, whatever. Maybe that's how the police drive. I'm not really sure. I try to keep them out from behind me these days, so I don't know much about them.
Good way
anymore.
to teach them. Let's work out a deal. Bring them down here to the track.
Well, we'll have the police race again, the Meeks Pick and Pull police race, police appreciation, Back the Blue Night, August 24th this year.
That's a fun race.
That is.
Fun to watch.
Fun to watch. I would not want to participate, but that is
Oh,
fun to
no.
watch.
I would never participate in that.
Oh,
but
my gosh.
They
it's-
get out wanting to fight each other. Like, literally. They're supposed to be officers of the law. and they
Well,
wanna
I know
fight.
from watching the Guns N' Hoses hockey game the other night. When they're out of uniform, they don't care anymore.
They do not.
They
They
just
don't.
they want to throw hands.
Some of them probably want to throw hands with their uniforms on.
Yeah, probably.
But
They're taking out their frustrations from the workday
Oh, 100%.
on
100%.
whoever happens to be sad enough to be driving in front of them when they come to this race.
The crazy thing about that police race is about 10% of the field is here to try to win the race. Another 10% is hoping to make laps and stay out of people's way and not wreck. That other 80%, they are balls to the wall. Just they ain't got enough sense to let off nothing.
Craziest thing I ever seen. One of the police guys had wrecked over in turn 3 and 4. He jumps out of his car.
Race still going.
Race is still going. Still green. Sitting on the wall with his legs hanging over the wall. Just sitting there.
Yeah.
Hanging out.
I'm like, somebody's got to get this idiot here,
Yeah, it was crazy. And you wouldn't think, because it's like you see a lot of new people come down here, and when they haven't had a lot of experience, and I know this firsthand, it takes you a while to get
Yeah.
up to speed,
Yeah, sure.
literally.
Yeah, sure.
But them cops, half of them, they don't care. They just go out there. They ain't got no safety equipment in them cars other than the helmet, and they just go balls to the wall on them.
Hammer down.
On them junkyard cars.
Literally junkyard cars.
Literally
Chris
junkyard
literally
cars.
makes it to where a couple of them run, and after that race, very few of them run. This last race really took its toll on the inventory for the Meeks Pick and Pull police race. It was a fun time though. We enjoyed it. We enjoyed the aftermath of it. The almost fight. And
Wildest race.
did he throw his helmet? Yeah.
Yeah, he threw his helmet.
Threw his helmet. Yeah. His dad shooting the bird. That was great.
I didn't catch none of that.
Oh, it was good over here on the front stretch.
Oh, I was on the back stretch. I was standing on the wall watching the whole time.
Were you retired by then?
That was the week after my wreck. So I was in a wrist brace and hobbling around. And,
Yeah.
But I was here. Drove the kids on the school bus.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Probably wasn't a good
That
idea,
was
but
horrible. I don't know who approved that. It wasn't me.
Wait a minute. Was that a rear-wheel drive?
yeah.
You
yeah.
probably shouldn't have been driving.
Probably
Oh,
not.
my God.
Probably not. Bus full of kids.
I didn't even think about that.
Well, yeah, it's hard to spin the thing when you're going 20.
I don't know. I mean,
I'm sure if it could, I would have figured it out.
That's what I'm sitting here thinking. If anybody could wreck a school bus going 20 mile an hour, it's you, though.
But driving a school bus around this racetrack is one of the coolest things
It
you
is.
could ever do.
Oh, it was awesome. And Sharon got them singing in there. They was all singing, waving to the crowd. It was good fun.
I don't think they were singing. They were praying for their lives in
Yeah,
what they
probably.
were doing. They were like, hey, who let this guy
I'm
drive?
like, yeah, aren't you guy about killed yourself last week?
Yeah.
Yeah, hop on.
No, I'm good. Get in.
I'm getting in the other
Somebody
bus.
give me a beer.
Jeez. End of the year, you were still here spectating, pretty much every race.
Yeah.
What was that like after having drove, the whole season?
It's hard to watch. And then it's like you want to be out there, but first I didn't have a car, and then it was because we threw the timing chain off my car, had to get it ready. But it's just you want to be out there.
Yeah.
Because and you're looking at the times on the app,
Yeah.
and you're like, well, I run faster times than that. I could be up front right now.
Right.
It's just hard to watch, but I still love it. That's why I was coming down here every week.
Yeah.
Just to watch, just to stir the pot a little bit.
You definitely do a good job of that.
You just go driver to driver and be like, hey, he said something about you. He said this, and then
Well, and then whatever happens in the race, you'll be over here on the front stretch hollering at one, telling the other one to do something. I'm like, oh, my God, shut up.
That's my favorite part.
Yeah.
Buck Wild in Franklin County.
Oh, man. Lord. I mean, we do need to revive the show, though.
I've been telling you for 2 years.
I
We need
mean-
to revive that show.
I mean, you'd be a star character, for sure.
I would for sure. I'd start rehearsing lines, and we go full WWE on this thing.
The problem,
We wouldn't even have to, really.
I was getting ready to say, they scripted some of the last one, and they didn't need to.
Well, the whatever it's called, the Pure Pro Wrestling dude, that was scripted too, and you saw what happened there.
Oh, 100%.
What's his name? The Wheat. I can't remember.
Yeah, the Nathan.
Yeah.
The funny
I
thing,
said, was that planned, or did he just jump in the ring and start?
I'm pretty sure the wrestlers were confused as to whether that was planned or not, too. They were like, whoa.
Yeah,
hold
I was sitting in the car. I had parked the car where I could see.
Yeah.
And I was so confused. And I had to wait until you came by, and I was like, was that part of the plan? And you were like, no, that wasn't part of it at all.
I was literally sitting outside. They had intermission so they could do the wrestling. And Nathan Wheat rides by me on a bicycle. I said, what are you doing? He said, I'm going up here to get myself in the wrestling ring. He said, I'm going to fight. I said, yeah, okay. Not 20 minutes later, I hear him over there, and I mean, it was game on.
I thought he was part of the plan at first, and then he shoved that dude, and I was like, hold on. That was a real shove. That wasn't no wrestling shove.
That was a real shove. In the pits, that day, I probably caused that. Little confusion on the tire rule. I'll take the blame for that because I don't know that I misunderstood. I don't know how to explain that, but he bought some new tires. He couldn't use those tires. All the drivers were complaining. He was mad. His car wasn't running that good. He said, I'm going over here. I'm going to go over here and get in the wrestling ring with them. What do you think they'll do? I said, I don't know.
He wanted to let a little frustration out.
That's exactly what he did. I mean, it was because he told me 2 or 3 times, and I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah, that was
There
crazy.
was people climbing the fence from the pits to up here to get over to him.
That was crazy. It was awesome, though. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't awesome.
He was smart enough to tell 2 or 3 people, hey, record this.
Yeah.
Made for some good TikToks,
Yeah.
Afterwards, the wrestling people, they like, you put them up to this. I didn't have anything to do with this.
Yeah, and then they had to go back to their fake wrestling, and nobody cared after that. They were like, we just saw some real stuff. We're done watching this.
Yeah, they should have told him to wait until the end.
Yeah, probably, because he just ruined pretty much most of the show.
Yeah, it got live up there for a few minutes.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And outside the ring, people getting slapped.
I think he should do it again. Next time, he should wear a costume. Come out there like a
Like a macho
I told him I was
man
getting him the
costume.
Macho Man
one
costume.
of the tights, the little Speedo with a mask and a cape. He ought to just jump out there.
I mean, I'm with you. I agree 100%. I think it would be entertaining. I tried to talk the wrestling, which they're all for it. I just got to get Nathan on board now. He's got to go train with them, and then we're gonna have a real match over here.
I don't see that working out very well.
I don't either.
That's going to end badly, but it's going to be entertaining.
It will be entertaining
if he even makes it out of training.
And we're here. We are in the entertainment business here. Okay, so I mean that is the goal. You've spent a lot of time watching races here. Spent a lot of time being in races here. What's the most entertaining thing you've seen here outside the wrestling?
I mean, I was getting ready to say, other than that, trying to think of some IndyCar instances because there were some really good IndyCar.
IndyCar's just fizzled out, man. It just ain't what it used to be.
I don't know what happened. It was doing so good, and y'all were getting so many good car counts, and
then all of a sudden, just
nobody showed up.
You know, they blame Wes for that. So, well, he wins all the races. There ain't no use in us coming.
They say they don't want to race with Wes,
but I don't believe that because I was going back through results. I've been doing a bunch of statistic work, this winter, trying to fix statistics for things. He didn't win half the races.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, if they don't want them in it, they should come down here and wreck them.
It's IndyCar.
It's IndyCar. But that is another thing that people were getting. It was kind of aggravating me because it's IndyCar.
Yeah.
This isn't like a real. I wouldn't say not a real division, but you're going to get wrecked for no reason. It just happens.
Yeah.
You can't get mad about it and try to.
Well, I mean, you can clearly get mad about
it. But they're expecting everybody to go out here and run clean like this is late models going at it. And no, this is IndyCar. You're coming out here just when you bring your car, you should expect it should be totaled by the end of the night. But these guys buy these expensive cars.
Very much so.
Just to try to beat Wes or whoever.
Yeah. Which, I mean, Wes spent a lot of money in that he's got, comparatively to what he had spent before that, he's got a lot of money in that car, the Nissan.
That thing's fast.
And for that matter, the Honda. He had a pretty good amount of money in that Honda, too. The one you destroyed,
I didn't destroy it.
Just by getting in, But I've talked about that, I believe, on the last podcast. That was partially my fault that any car went that way. I was trying to get them to quit destroying every car and just, wreck some cars and let's bring them back next week. And they went from that to becoming a real race somehow, and I don't know how we went from point A to point B.
Well, it was a real race for a while until old Ryan Wheat decided to get in the equation.
Ryan Wheat definitely did not forget what any car was.
Imagine that, another Wheat involved in some craziness.
Yeah, it's kind of.
I felt bad for what's his name, the guy from Maryland,
Greg Mattingly.
Yeah, he came down there and Ryan just turned him for no reason, and you could see on his face because he had to sit there for a minute, wait for cars to go. You could see on his face like, "What the hell is going on? What did I do?" He's like, "You didn't do nothing, buddy. That's just Ryan right there."
Yeah. Well, I mean, like you said, I mean that's what any car was about. I mean.
Yeah.
There's always been, and the funny thing about that is, I look back, I can look back for the last, 30 years. There were always people in the IndyCar that could win. There's 2 or 3 guys that could win, even with all the chaos. Chucky Floyd back in the day would come here, and I mean, he would win IndyCar races every week. And meanwhile, there's cars laying on top of the wall. There's guys on fire on the backstretch. Cars rolled over. But he didn't. So there's always been guys like Wes that could do that. I don't know. It must be a skill set, avoiding wrecks in that kind of chaos. I don't know.
Yeah, I was nervous as hell when Wes told me I was going to run any car in his car.
Yeah.
But nobody ended up showing up anyway. Or no, we did run any car that night.
Yeah.
I think, but it wasn't a very good one. I tried to go out there for the second place race, and it just wouldn't even go.
After like the second or third IndyCar race of this year, none of them were any good. I mean, a lot of weeks we didn't have anybody but Wes in his other car, and
those ones at the beginning were entertaining, though.
Oh yeah. That first 2 or 3 races was really good. The Hearts. I hate that they didn't come back. And Robbie Young didn't spend most of the season here because, I mean, that's what made those races really good.
Well, I can understand where the Hearts were upset. Wes put Keyshawn in his car and said, if you can, just hold him up.
Yeah.
And then Keyshawn said, I'm really going to hold him up.
Oh.
And slammed his car to the wall. And said, he's held up now. Go for it. And I think that was just a misunderstanding. And they got mad at Wes. And I was trying to tell him, I was like, it wasn't even Wes's fault.
Yeah.
But the whole funny part of that was they walked over and said, who's driving that car? And Keyshawn points and goes, I think he went that way. And then finally somebody snitched and he was like, it's that guy right there. And then somehow I got mixed up in the middle of it. And it's Timmy, JC, and me formed a line, and he's standing behind us.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, I just came to watch. I didn't want to get involved in this fight.
Oh, man. It happens like that sometimes.
Yeah, it was entertaining. Buck wild.
I mean, it's funny that the closest you came to fighting, this year was, for Keyshawn.
We weren't even gonna fight.
Last year you were, well, Josh, not necessarily you, over here trying to fight with Houseman. So.
Well, yeah, I'm just not going to comment on that because I'm getting myself in trouble. But I got pretty close to fighting with Ryan Wheat. But I ain't even going to lie. As angry as I was, when he honked his little horn and waved out the window to me, it was funny. I can't even lie. Yeah, that was hilarious.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
He has that effect on people, though. He's so aggressive and so much, but then he's just so Ryan.
I was just having a terrible night. I had wrecked my stock four. I had spun my bootlegger twice in the same race. And then it was supposed to drive IndyCar, and Langley tells me, no IndyCar tonight, just go run it stock four. I get spun by whoever it was, stock six. I got spun on the first lap by the number four, whatever.
Jeff Inman.
Yeah, Inman spun me for no reason, then acted like he didn't know what happened. Even though it was pretty blatant, I showed him the video. But, and then it gets restart, and then Ryan tries to spin me, and I'm like, "What is going on here?" And I tried to jerk the wheel down, and I busted two tires, slamming into them, and it was just a terrible night for me.
Sounds like it.
Sounds like a night you probably shouldn't have been here or been racing.
Yeah, probably.
Just been a spectator.
That was one of those nights that Stock 6 turned into IndyCar. So.
Yeah, that's what I yelled. I was like, did anybody tell him that was stock six? That was not IndyCar.
He didn't care.
I was like, why am I the one? Everybody hates Wes, but I'm the one that's getting beat up on in this race.
Because you were in one of his cars.
They didn't know it was his car.
Oh, yes.
It had my number on it, 20.
I promise you, everybody here knows every car that belongs to him, period.
Well,
when they come through the gates, they're fishing. They're like, okay, where's Wes's cars and who's in them tonight?
it just aggravated. I'd spent the whole day. I came down there and stripped the car out for him. Got yelled at by Whitey.
I remember that.
I busted the glass in the wrong place.
Yeah. That was entertaining.
Yeah, for you.
I mean, I laughed. I got chewed out by both of you. I laughed.
But, yeah.
I mean,
Spent the whole day, and then second lap in, bust two tires, dooring the hell out of
you
Ryan.
shouldn't have hit him.
Well, he tried to spin me. I got to do something.
Well, I mean, you do it better than that. Don't take yourself out.
Looking back on it, I should have just kept driving because that car he was in was slow as dirt.
Oh, it was a turd. He made that thing. He made that thing work for 4, 5, 6 races though.
Yeah.
And I don't know how.
Until he finally, rode the wall for like
6 laps.
yeah.
We were like, what is this dude doing?
I'm glad we don't have a transponder loop on the wall like some tracks have had them on the wall. We'd have been in trouble. They run them up through or used to. I don't think any of them do it now. They've had to run a wire there, but if we had, we would have tore that out pretty good. So
I'm sure he would have.
looking forward to 2024. What's your plans? Obviously, not bootleggers, not a rear-wheel drive car. What's your plans on that?
I'm just this year. I'm not doing all the driving 16 different cars. I'm gonna stick to my one stock 4, and that's all I'm doing this year.
Well, you say that until you get in pits. Somebody says, "Hey, man, come over here and drive this car for me."
No, I'm not doing that this year.
I am on the way. I'm coming to drive it.
I did that for Wes about 4 times. So I don't want to do that no more. I'm gonna just stick to my stock 4, and that's all I'm doing. Because we got enough cars as it is, and I ain't no mechanic. My brother Josh and my uncle, they have to work on all the cars, and we got 2 girls and R2 stock 4s, and Timmy's got 17 Crown Vics just sitting around waiting to be put together.
That's your next bootlegger right there.
Well, there ain't no bootlegger class, but you can
Well,
bring them
lucky
out,
for you.
bring them out for the V8 Enduro. Hey, one thing you can run, if you did have another car, have 4-cylinder Enduros this year, get you, another Cavalier or whatever.
I would never take a Cavalier out in any car race. I'm going to go find some hunk of junk Honda Civic and take it out there.
A hunk of junk Honda. I never heard anybody say, "Yeah, I ain't taking my Cavalier out there. I'm gonna get a hunk of junk Honda Civic."
I'll take it out in stock 4. I ain't taking no Cavalier out. It hurt my feelings to see the Meeks had that 5-speed Cavalier out in the police race.
Yeah,
I was like, man, come on.
and ended up in the wall over here on the front straightaway.
destroyed.
And then
Yeah.
the engine ended up in Jaden's car.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that hurt my feelings a little bit to see that thing out there.
yeah. Well, I mean, don't worry if it hurts your feelings seeing that. It should hurt your feeling that Jaden, he gets 37 different motors and blows them all. So thinning
about
the
killed me.
Ecotech herd here.
He about killed me on a restart one time. I was behind him, and he hit the gas, and it threw up so much smoke. And it was right when I was inhaling, so I just got lungs full of whatever that
You
was.
thought you were vaping?
I was like, oh, my gosh. And I coughed the whole way down the front stretch. I'm coughing. I was like, Jaden's trying to kill me in here, man.
So since you're not retired, 2024, you're focusing on the stock 4, going for the championship.
Hopefully.
Hopefully, what do you think stands? I mean, obviously you've had 2 learning seasons. One, outperformed your experience. What do you think stands in your way of winning the championship this year?
Consistency. I got to stay consistent. Every race. Just getting, like I said, trying to be more gentle on my cars. Maybe just accepting a 3rd place, because that's really what it boils down to, is unless you're like Wes and win 38 races in a year. But I got to be consistent.
Well, you say unless you're like Wes, but he may have won 17 races. He probably had 15 to 20 second place finishes, 3rd place finishes in that. So that is consistency.
I got to get like that. If I'm not winning top 3 every time, that's the goal. But it's hard. Everybody shows up out here with Cavaliers now, so it's hard to beat Jaden and beat Josh Brown, and it's getting tough out here.
You mentioned Jaden, Josh Brown. I mean, is that your 2 biggest competitors coming into this season here?
Probably, yeah. Jaden more so. I mean, no offense to Josh Brown, but me and Jaden always seem to be right there with each other. When my car ain't taking a dump on me, that is.
Yeah.
But it was me and him a lot for the beginning of the season, battling it out.
Yeah, you won most of those battles at the beginning of the season. I don't think he won his first race until mid-season or so.
Yeah, I don't remember. But I do know I passed him on the outside once, and that was pretty cool.
He's a Giants fan, so, they never got their season really going. I don't know how he got his, so,
That's unfortunate. Giants are trash. Go Birds.
They ain't going anywhere right
No,
now.
they're
They're
on
sitting
the
at
couch.
home trying to
At
figure
least
out
I
what
can
they're
enjoy
gonna
the
do.
playoffs now.
Does that mean you can enjoy the playoffs?
I don't have to stress. I can just watch and enjoy now.
I feel that way. I'm a Rams fan. I feel that way. Now that they're out, thank you. Move on. I'll enjoy the Super Bowl. I did not enjoy the one that they won or the one that they lost. I didn't enjoy either one of them. So NFL will do that to you.
Yep.
For sure. 2024, looking for the championship. Noah, tell us a little bit about the people you mentioned. You mentioned your brother. We've talked about your brother quite a few times, but you mentioned your uncle Daryl. He's kind of the man behind the madness
Yeah,
here.
he's our secret weapon.
He really is.
He and actually he got in the limelight this year with his bus race victory he had.
He did.
And he also
In the slowest bus here.
yeah.
by the
yeah.
way.
Him and Timmy did the push race. I don't know if anybody saw that, but he had one of them dirt bike kind of open face helmets, and he was smoking a cigarette during the race.
That's awesome.
But yeah, my uncle there, it's his garage. He's got all the tools. All of our cars go to his house. He's the one that, and he comes up with like these grand schemes and stuff on how to do different stuff, and it's
Yeah.
It's pretty ingenious.
Yeah, I mean, I have to make rules for some of that stuff. So
Yeah, well, you took my control arm away, but it was fun while it lasted.
yeah.
That thing turned like hell with that control arm.
I mean,
on there.
you can partially thank Wes, for openly,
That was
down
what
here.
I've never been more mad at him in my life. He figured it out, and we finally told him what was going on. And this idiot is doing it on race day, an hour
In front
before
of
the race, in front of everybody. And I'm like,
story.
dude. And then the next week, no modified control arms. I'm like, thanks a lot, Wes.
He literally asked me that day. He said, "Is this legal?" I said, "It is today."
I knew we were in trouble because you had a different tech guy that day.
Yeah, I did.
And he spent about 7 minutes just staring at that control arm. And I was like, this ain't good.
Yeah, I remember. I think afterwards he asked me. He said, "Do you allow them to do that?" I said, "Unfortunately, I did."
It was a gray area. We found it.
Might need to fix that. He said, and we did. So, speaking of rules and rule changes and stuff, got a little different rules this year. Not a lot different, but no penalties for speed, time. Got weight rule this year. What's your thoughts on 2024 Stock 4 rules?
Thank God I'm fat because my car is almost already within the weight rule.
I mean, I guess
I would
there
just
are-
have to add a little bit of weight to the right side just to make it even. But isn't that the rule? You got to be 100 pounds or whatever. Within
It's
100
not. That is not in the rule book. That
thought
is
that
something
was
we
in the-
discussed at
Well,
the
hell.
meeting, but that is not in the rule book.
Then all I got to do is throw a few pounds under my seat. We're good to go.
Yeah, that rule did not make the rule book. That was an oversight on my part. I may have to fix that eventually, but
Well, shit.
for
I
now,
shouldn't have said that.
I mean, I already knew that. I already knew that I overlooked it.
Yeah, that's the one advantage of being a fat boy.
Well, and to be honest with you, you're lucky that I'm fat and I thought about you, okay? Because I'm thinking, man, that's not good. That's gonna be that rule. I think it's within 100 pounds. Side to side. That rule is not. That is gonna benefit a skinny guy,
Yeah,
and the skinny guys get all the benefits. So why would we give them another one?
exactly.
That's kind of my thought process there, anyways. And that's kind of why I think I intentionally left that out.
Look, I'm just saying, fat boys have had a lot of success here at this track.
100%, especially in Stock 4.
Yeah, I really do, and people laugh, and it kind of is a joke, but I think it does help with left side weight. It helps it turn,
It has to help.
being heavier.
Daryl Chrisley. I mean, he could wheel around this track like nobody.
Yep, he's a big boy.
And he's a big boy.
Yep.
I hope he gets back to it. I don't think he is, though, is he?
I don't know. I think he finally got his surgery, and maybe I'm not
He
sure.
was my first year. It was like everybody hated everybody,
Yeah.
but everybody respected
Yeah.
him and never messed with him. He was like the only guy on the track that everybody was like, he's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Daryl's a good guy. He been going through some stuff with his back,
Yeah.
and I think he finally got surgery there. I haven't talked to him last few weeks, anyways. Probably last month or so. But hopefully he gets back out there and racing again, or gets a car out there, gets somebody in a car or something. We like having him here. He was one of our honorary, and so were you, of the judges for our
Daisy Duke.
Daisy
That
Duke
I've still
contest.
not heard the end of.
You haven't heard the end of that?
See, it's in somebody was taking videos. It might have been you,
No, I was announcing it.
but Daryl was sitting there popping off jokes left and right, and it was hilarious. But on the video, obviously you can't hear him cracking jokes,
Right.
So it looks like I'm just looking at these girls and their Daisy Dukes laughing and giggling, and I was like, that is not what was happening. He was popping off jokes. It just looked bad on me, and I still have not heard the end of that one.
Yeah, well.
He's a low talker anyway, so I can believe that.
Yeah, it was hilarious. He was cracking me up. And I don't want to hurt any feelings, so I'm not going to repeat the jokes he was saying, but
Oh, I'm sure they were some good ones.
they were hilarious.
I was standing there, but I don't remember 'em. So, all right. Well, we're gonna wrap this thing up. I appreciate you coming on here. You even made it on time today. I'm proud of
Exactly
you.
on time.
I'm pretty sure that you had the speed to get here because you had just woke up and rubbed your eyes, and that's about it.
Yeah,
but,
pretty much.
Night.
Night shift to do that to you.
Well, it shows. So, at least you got an excuse. You work nights, and at least we got you working again.
I got a new day shift job coming up in a couple weeks, so I'll be back on a normal people schedule.
Well, that'll be good. I got a new day shift job coming up too. So, yeah. All right, Kim. Anything else? Anything we've not talked about? Anything
No, I think
we missed here?
We've covered everything under the sun with this one.
Yep. I think so.
Oh,
too.
there's a lot more that we can't say on public airwaves.
Well, there was a few bullets dodged during the show.
Yeah, a little bit.
won't have to go home and do too much editing here, so should be good to go.
Made it through with 0 bathroom breaks. I'm proud of myself.
I mean, that is impressive for you, for sure.
Yep.
So,
I got a small bladder.
all right, I appreciate you coming on, and looking forward to the upcoming season with you and all the Stock 4 guys.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
All right, guys, that'll do it for this episode of the Pit Chatter Podcast. Catch us back next Wednesday with another episode.